Hi, this is Erica, and today I have my #1 top tip for crafters, and the first one is going to be why use clear gesso. So this is the stuff, and this one is by Prima Marketing, and it's a Finnavar Art Basics gesso. So why use clear gesso? Well, it makes a great base for then adding watercolour to a paper that otherwise wouldn't take water soluble paints onto its surface. So let's start. On this card, it's a really lovely smooth stamping card, and it's great for taking a very detailed stamped image. So I'd simply stamp my design, and you can see how lovely and detailed and sharp that design is. I love this card for stamping, but it doesn't take watercolour paints very well. So what I do is I'm using my clear gesso to give it a coat over the surface. Now, I've already stamped one, so I'm using VersaFine, which is an oil-based ink, and it works really great with watercolours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this design. I've stamped it again because this one is I've already heat set, because they are better if you give them a little bit of time to dry or you heat set it to make it permanent. So this would not work if you were going to use a dye-based ink pad. So bear that in mind when you do this technique. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a coat of the clear gesso. And as you can see, it's a little bit milky, but it will dry perfectly clear. So if you wait one moment, I'll go and get that dry and I'll be back. Right, so I'm back, and here is my gessoed stamping, and as you can see, it's slightly changed the surface of the card, but apart from that you would not tell it had any covering on it. But you can see the difference. I think hopefully you can see it as I turn the card. There's a slight more of a matteness to the finish. So today I'm going to use a watercolour pencil. This is a Derwent Inktense in Poppy Red. But I also find that when you're using the pencils on top of the gessoed surface, it's also got a lovely tooth to it, which is obviously gesso is designed for that. So it takes the pencil crayon brilliantly. You can see how easily it's going down. Now I'm not worrying about the edges because this is a design that I'll be cutting out later. So if I go a little bit over the edge, it won't bother me too much. Now I'm going to add some water to the design, and obviously with a pencil like Inktense, you get a beautiful bright colour when you add the water. You can, oops, gone over the edge. I'll just show you something afterwards with that. I'll go over those buttons. Right, so like I said, I'm not going to worry about the edges too much. The gesso has sealed the surface, so I can do something that I wouldn't be able to do on a surface that hasn't been sealed, and that is actually remove the pencil where I don't want it. We'll add a little tinge of colour to it, but I don't know if you can see, but that's actually taken that mistake off. So there we go. You can see you can get a beautiful finish if I was, let me just show you over the edge, the difference. I think you can already tell the difference between the two sides. When you take it over, this then has stayed put. On this side you can still move it about, so if you make any mistakes you can pull it about. So that's my number one top tip, clear gesso.